But yeah, so today what we want to talk about is our calls. Earlier you talked about like, do we do discovery by ourselves? Do we do it with an AE? These are all great questions. And so specific things we'll talk about is what does your workflow actually look like here, right? Number two, we're going to talk about terminology and answer those questions about when to loop in an AE. We'll also talk about when you get paid and how your quota works. Number three, we'll give you cold call best practices. So some of the things that we're looking for here, it will be a review for many of you that have already heard a lot of this stuff. Then we want to talk about discovery calls and then how to continue learning. Okay, how's that sound for you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, awesome. So how does all this marketing stuff work? So as you know, marketing's job is to generate leads. And so a lot of the things that we do is we create content, right? So ebooks, webinars, case studies. And if you want this content, then you have to fill out a web form, right? So let's just say I work for Apple in the United States. Okay. So if I were to click download here, this would turn into a lead, and then this lead would actually get routed to our teams. So step one, marketing creates content. Step two, we market this content. People download it, fill out the web form. Step three, this turns into a lead. And then so our job is to follow up with these leads and to connect with these people, to qualify them, to see if there's sales potential. And then for the ones that there are sales potential, then we pass them to our sales teams. Okay. So I just want to show you about all the workflows we have. We're in outreach. So here is how we know which sequences to use. So the answer is it's a little bit complicated. For content MQLs, there is there is what we call FY24 sales dev GTM topics, but this is a collection, which is like a folder, right? But we have all of these what we call sequences in here. A sequence is just a workflow, right? So day one, email gets sent out. Day five, automated email gets sent out. Day 14, another automated email gets sent out. Have you used Outreach before, or is this a new platform for you?
That one's a new platform. We use SalesLoft, which did the exact same thing though.
Okay.
So it was very, very similar. We call them cadences rather than sequences, but yeah, it's very, very similar.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so here's another example. So to read this, the which one to use, it's important to understand the naming convention. So this is fiscal year 24 inbound, AMER, GitOps, high touch English. And then so if you had a content MQL that came in that was like someone downloaded the GitOps ebook, then you would use this GitOps sequence. Okay.
Okay.
So this is exact same as SalesLoft: call, then email, then LinkedIn, then call, email. You're a BDR, so let me show you the BDR sequences. We actually have something that's kind of interesting here. We did a bunch of analysis, and then we found out the highest converting sequences from a data perspective. And then we put all of those sequences into its own folder. So this is what we call the good outbound collection. And over here, all of these sequences that are being used right now, they are like the highest converting ones from a BDR perspective. And we've also been improving them. So every once in a while, we'll revisit them, edit them. We'll work together with sales on making them better, talk to product marketing, but it's by use case. So like, for instance, when you are sequencing people from BDR perspective, there's cold outreach. You could also be going after closed lost. You could also be going after past leads that didn't go advance further. You could also be talking about like different topics, right? So maybe someone's really interested in DevOps. Maybe someone's really interested in DevSecOps or security, right? So we also
Mhm.
have like them by topics. And so basically the way to think about the good outbound collection is like, give me the best closed loss sequence, give me the best free user sequence, give me the best DevSecOps sequence, and then we put them into this collection. Okay. If you, so people right now, how the process works is that people can write sequences, but to get them activated, you have to request permission from the operations team. So if you want to write your own sequence, because let's just say you want to run your own campaign, right? Then there's what this testing collection is. And then so you can write the sequence, you can get it activated. It's going to go in the testing collection. Once you have like, from a data perspective, you can come back to us and say, hey, I wrote a sequence, it's doing better than what's in the good collection, then it will actually get promoted to the good collection. And we usually run like spiffs around this. So it's like, if you actually have messaging that is the best, and now it's helping out other people, then we'll actually like financially reward you a lot of the time. Okay.
Okay.
So just to review, marketing creates content. They comes in as leads for us. We have collections and outreach. There is many different groups of collections. Talk to your manager and your onboarding buddy. A lot of teams have their own collections. And one in particular is the good outbound collection. Okay. Okay, awesome. So to answer your original question, like, do we do discovery by ourselves? I want to talk about how this generally works. Obviously, sales is a big organic organization, and there's no one size fits all policy for every AE that you're going to be working with, right? But let me just tell you how this works in general. Okay. So you sequence people. As part of the sequence, there are call steps, right? So when you're cold calling these leads, that's what we call a cold call, right? It's you and the prospect. Let's say you have the best cold call with Elon Musk and it seems promising, all right? You don't get paid for that. Okay. So at the cold call, really, we're usually really short. We usually don't do our qualification on the first call. You're just setting a discovery call, right? Hey, do you have some time later? I know I'm calling you at the blue. Do you have some time later this week so that I can go hear more about what you're trying to do? Okay. How's Thursday at 2? Okay, great. Like 2 minutes, right? Okay, so then what we have is the discovery call. This is the qualification call. If you have a good discovery call, you can create, or even if you don't have a good discovery call, you can create a stage 0 opportunity in Salesforce. Okay, so remember, like an opportunity field in Salesforce. So it's sales at stage 0. Okay. This discovery call is generally just you and the prospect. As a BDR, you are responsible for the qualification yourself. There will be times in which you have a new AE and he or she says, hey, I want as much practice as possible. Throw me on every single call that you have, right? That's very common. So, but in general, you're responsible for qualifying before you push it to sales. Okay. So after that happens, let's just say you have a great discovery call. It's qualified. Seems like a great opportunity. You still don't get paid. It doesn't count to your quota. Okay. What you do is then you set a third meeting. And then this is the handoff, the sales handoff meeting. So we call this a IQM. All right. And then if sales comes in and then they say, hey, this is a great opportunity. Thank you for doing this. What they do is they go into Salesforce and then they actually click in Salesforce and convert your stage 0 opportunity to a stage 1 opportunity. So they accept it. Okay. Our nomenclature here is we call these accepted meetings SAOs, or sales accepted opportunities. That's what you actually get paid on. Okay. So are you a strategic BDR?
Yes.
Okay, so one thing to keep in mind right now in this current year, there's 2 different types of BDRs. For strategic BDR, you have both first order and expand opportunities. Okay, so your quota actually has components for both. One thing to note is that the business primarily cares about first order opportunities. So let's just say that you have a finite amount of time, right? And in your accounts, you feel confident that you can get as many first order as expand. Then the business will pay you out more for your first order opportunities. Okay. Okay, so these are your IQMs. It's generally you and the prospect and sales, sometimes the SA. So different regions have different things and expectations. Right now in the EMEA segment, they don't have SAs for IQMs in the enterprise segment. So check in with sales about your own rules of engagement with SAs. Okay. In this is what you get paid for. All right. So the spreadsheet for how you actually get put up meetings is your SAO count. They'll just say, how many SAOs did you get? Are they first order or they expand SAOs? And then that turns into your commission. Okay. Cool. Can I help clarify anything here or pretty straightforward?
It's pretty straightforward. If during a cold call I could do that discovery call,
Do it.
can do it. I can do it.
Do it. You get someone who's talky, they're in a good mood. Ask all the
Yeah.
qualification.
Okay. Because I've had experience with like people who they just really want to talk, and then you catch them at a good time. They're actually looking for a solution, and like they'll talk. So I just kind of want to see if I'm allowed to do that or I have to do a secondary call.
Yeah. So
But
this is honestly this is in general the process, but if you get something, if you're, yeah, like you said, exceptions always exist.
mhm. Okay, that's good to know.
Okay. All right. So one more thing about your commission. So there's two types of BDRs. You have major and strategic BDRs. Right now, for you, you should also know that there's a pipeline contribution for your target. So what I mean by that, actually, I take that back. The other type of BDR has a pipeline contribution, so that doesn't affect you. I take that back. Okay, cool. So let's talk about cold calls. I want to talk about best practices for this. Every business has different things that they're looking at. And so here are some ingredients to a good cold call. Okay. You might have your own methodology. That's okay. Right. But we will ask you to think through some of these things. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So name a department store that you really like.
Department store, Nordstrom.
Nordstrom. Okay. So let's just say that someone got you a friend got you a gift. It's something at Nordstrom. You don't like it, you have to go return it at Nordstrom. Okay. There's only one entrance. Right outside of that Nordstrom, there's a bunch of people. It looks like they're working for Greenpeace. It looks like they're asking everyone for money as they come in and come out. They want them to sign up for their calls. Okay. So you're still pretty far away from them. You haven't talked with them yet, but you know that as you go into this store, there's going to be these people that are probably going to ask you for money like everyone else. All right. So how does that make you feel that there are these people that are going to ask you for money?
Um, I don't know, maybe a little bit uncomfortable that it's just
Give me an emotion. Does it make you fearful? Does it make you angry? Does it make you bored? Does it give me an emotion?
um confused
Confused? Okay.
a little bit.
Okay. Did you choose to be confused or do you make a conscious choice to be confused, or was it something that just happened automatically for you?
Just happens automatically.
Okay. So what research shows is that human beings are creatures of habit, just like how you didn't choose to get confused. When people get a cold call, they don't choose to get angry, to get frustrated, right? It's just a subconscious emotional like pattern. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that's really important. When we cold call people, we trigger in them a subconscious emotional pattern. It really doesn't have to do with us. It just has to do with the fact that we are triggering this emotional pattern. Okay. So there's actually a really famous story about this. And the story basically goes, there was someone who was working at a really famous San Francisco based tech company. And he was doing his cold calls just like any good enterprise sales rep does. And it was getting close to Christmas, and he was actually getting kind of sick, but he still wanted to do his activity metrics, put in the time, right? So he started this call. Ring, ring. Hello? Hey. You okay? Yeah, sorry. Can I have a second? Yeah, please take your time. Yeah. Oh yeah, hey, really sorry about that. Yeah, this is Michael Hayes. I'm calling from Sales Loft. The reason why I'm reaching out is because of blank. Do you have some time to talk about blank because of blank? All right. And what this person found out was that even though his cold calls they sucked, that because they were so weird, his conversion rate actually went up 3 times. Okay. So this is the idea of what we call pattern interrupt. If we are cold calling them, we are triggering a subconscious emotional pathway for them to get frustrated, to have negative emotions. If they have negative emotions, that's going to hurt our conversion rate. Okay. So, what people need to do is to do something non traditional so that they break the pattern. That's why it's called a pattern interrupt. Okay. So, there's many different types of pattern interrupts. Here is our ask for you. Have one that's authentic for you. If you feel like you're just like crazy doing this, then that's not the one for you because you're going to have to feel good doing it. Okay. So our ask is when you cold call people, have a pattern interrupt. All right. There's many lists. Go find one that you feel like is going to work for you. All right. Gong sales data says that in the United States, how are you is not a pattern interrupt. Some other countries say that it is. It is. Okay. All right. So that's a pattern interrupt. If you don't want to have a pattern interrupt, have a relevance based opener. The reason why I'm reaching out is because I was doing some research on your company and I saw that you guys were doing a cloud transformation. I was wondering if you have 15 minutes so that we can talk about how GitLab accelerates cloud transformations and to see if we could be any benefit of you. Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, cool. So let's just say that you have an opener, your cold call is going okay. Every once in a while, you're talking to someone, they really don't want to talk with you. All right. And so it's like, how are you doing today? Fine. Oh, okay. So tell me about what initiatives you have in your organization. What? You can just like sense that tension. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So this is the next technique. It's called elephant in the room, and it actually works for stuff outside of um, sales development. Like I do this in my personal life. It's just like a good technique for communicating in general. But if someone's really angry or afraid, or you sense that negative emotion, sometimes what you really need to do is to just talk about that. So it's, hey, you know what? Sensing some negativity here. Am I bothering you? Yeah, you cold called me. Hey, I totally understand. I hate being cold called too, but the reason why I'm reaching out is because I'm actually working with some of your competitors and on their digital transformation. And I was trying to see if we could add value to you too. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
how it works is that you actually address the negative emotions head on. So it's just sort of like Hey, I'm sensing some negativity here. Did I catch you at a bad time? Yeah. Hey, totally understand. I hate being cold called too. Really apologize about that. But how about this? Then move on to the next phase of the call. Okay. So it's addressing the negative emotions and listening and expressing empathy. That's elephant in the room. Okay. All right. So
Okay.
the moving in the next phase is the upfront contract. I want to give you 3 scenarios. I want you to pick out the best one. Okay. Let's just say that you're having dinner. You hear, "Hey, this is Chris from Covenant Solar. Do you have 20 minutes to talk about solar panels?" All right, so that's one. Did you like that?
No,
Why not?
I don't know, because I just would be hesitant and be like, no, I'm sorry, I don't have time for that.
You don't have 20 minutes. Okay. How about
20
this?
minutes is a very long time to put on there. 20 minutes is a long time. So
Okay. So let me do a number 2. Hey, this is Chris from Covenant Solar. Do you have 32 seconds for me to share about how solar panels could save you time, money, and give you back money in your wallet?
sure, 32 seconds sounds great.
Okay. So that's better because one is
It's
short.
shorter.
And then number 2, notice in the first one, do you have 20 minutes so that I can talk about solar panels?
Yeah, it's you're not really considering what the customer's needs are. It's about yourself.
Yeah, it's about yourself. The second one was, hey, do you have 32 seconds so that I can share with you about how I can save you money and put money back in your wallet over the next 3 years? Right. So I made it
Yeah,
about them. Right.
read about them, how they can value from
Yeah.
what we have to talk about.
So the next one's an upfront contract. Ask for like 32 seconds. Some people, they come here, they ask for 5 minutes, never ask for 5 minutes, ask for something short. And then generally have a reason for reaching out. The reason why I'm reaching out was because I saw that your company is doing a DevSecOps initiative. The reason why I'm calling is because we are working with Goldman Sachs and Bank of America on also similar transformations. Was wondering if we could help you out too, right?
Yeah. This is
Okay.
actually similar to um, what I used to do. We had the pattern interrupts, the upfront contract. We had the pain probing. Then we went to pain funnel. Then we had a call to action, and then post sell. So it's basically like this, exactly the same as what I've used before.
That's awesome.
Just really good. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll just review the rest of this real quick. So elevator pitch, I like to have a couple of them. One is we're a best-in-class DevSecOps platform with functionality spanning all phases of software development delivery. Short, crisp. Another one that I do is GitLab is a consolidated platform for software development delivery. This means we try to do everything that GitHub, Jenkins, Jira, and SonarQube do, all under a single user interface. So I actually use both. I probably, if I had to pick one, I actually like the second one more. And here's the reason why. They probably have 3 of these. This is a crazy statement. When you tell someone that you can do what 3 of their tools do, that's a big deal. That's like a crazy thing to say. So this like inherently grabs people's attention. Okay. For this to work, you have to name all of these. If you name 3, it doesn't have the same effect. If you name 2, it doesn't have the same effect. You have to name all 4. Okay. All right. So your call to action, short, concise, clear. Hey, I know I was interrupting you, and I want to honor your schedule. But I felt like we had a pretty good conversation so far. Do you have 20 minutes sometime later this week? We're going to talk about your DevSecOps transformation further, right? When you do it, please confirm their email. And one thing that I want to talk about here is we have a very technical product. A lot of times you're going to call someone and they're going to say something like, "Oh, you're from GitLab. That's awesome." One time I was checking out GitLab and I was trying to mount the persistent volume claims. the persistent volume claims weren't mounting correctly. And then because of that, I ran into NFS like storage issues. How do you resolve that? So you're gonna get questions like that all the time.
That
So
sounds like something our product consultant can help
yes,
you
but they're not gonna always be available for you. You know what I mean?
with. I mean, like our AEs or whatever. So that's why whenever I got asked the technical question, that's how I get them into the second meeting. I'd say, I'd love to help you out with that, but our our account executive can help you. Um,
Yeah. So that is one technique you can do, is exactly what you just said. When the
mhm,
prospects ask you something technical, hey, full transparency, I'm in the marketing team. I'd love to provide value for you. How about we schedule another meeting where I can loop in relevant resources and we can go over your persistent volume claims, right?
mhm,
Your SAs are the best for this because they're actually technical. Your AEs may or may not know the answer for that. So just FYI, when you're doing this as a team, you want to know
mhm,
what the strengths and the weaknesses are of all of the people on your team. If your AE is new, it's probably not a good thing to do for them. You know what I mean?
mhm.
You can also take a customer service approach. Hey, love to add value for you. If you give me that question, love to do some research and see if I can find an answer for you. All right. So the vast majority of stuff you can find the handbook. So literally whatever you ask, you can usually just find an article on it. This is going to be something you're going to be doing a lot. The other thing you're going to be doing from time to time, if you run into these technical questions, is finding the answer by Slack. So have you seen the pound questions channel?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, great. So this is a great place where it's like, hi team, do you have an ultimate customer? So it's like, who is this person? He's in sales. He's asking a technical question, right? Heather,
Mhm,
I have a customer asking this question. Brady O'Dowd, he's in sales. Hi team, our container registry is counted for this. So literally, this is another great place to get answers. Okay.
okay.
Um, okay. All right. So discovery calls, like you already said, you're qualifying. You're also trying to get more interest in GitLab at the same time. This is something
Mhm,
that's very important to understand is that when you create an opportunity in Salesforce, there are required fields. Okay. So like, what do we do for qualification? Some companies use BANT, many other companies do something else. For us, check out the opportunity fields in Salesforce. Okay. So what are some of these things? Number one, initiative. What are they trying to do? Number two, what are they currently doing? Number three, uh, GitLab does a lot of stuff. What's the stuff that they're initially interested in? Okay, how many salespeople also need to know, is this like a sardine or is it a whale? Right? So how many seats is this? Is this 20 seats? Okay, well, All right, so do you actually need to get all this pieces of information? You can get some of this stuff through like online, like Zoom Info has information on what their current tools are, right? But some of
mhm,
these things you're never going to get unless you ask them. So it's important that like to ask things that like you can't get through other sources, all right?
mhm,
Um, one more thing, when you check in with your onboarding buddy, ask for if there's any special process around opportunities. So some regions you have to fill out like a Google Docs with like additional criteria and put it in Salesforce. So different regions also have like their own special snowflake stuff that you need to do. So that's something to check in with. Okay.
mhm.
Um, technical questions, you'll get them a lot. Uh, learning how to stall for them. So a lot of times you can just say, tell me more. Why do you think that's happening? Okay, what are you trying to do with that? Kubernetes persistent. Okay. And then if they corner you, you can just say, hey, full transparency, I'm in the marketing team, love to add value for you. Um, we can schedule a meeting so that I can get appropriate resource to go over that, like you said. Or if you give me that by email, then I can see if I can dig up an answer for you if they don't want to take a meeting, right?
Yeah.
Pound Slack, a pound questions is the channel to go for.
But none of the calls are recorded, right? So I'm gonna have to take detailed notes right off the bat on the call.
Right now, we don't have call recording set up. For
Okay.
and there's like a legal reason for that. It's illegal to cold call into certain states, and then we haven't figured out like a good way to like get that set up. So yeah,
Okay. Just wondering, because like my previous company, we had like Gong that recorded it. So if I missed anything, I can review and see if I missed any information and write it down, jot it down. But here I'm gonna have to be thorough with my note taking, right?
we yes, we do have recordings for like discovery calls and like other later stage stuff. I right now we just don't have it for cold calls, and part of that is a legal compliance issue.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, thank you for asking. That's a great question. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about, you already mentioned it, is questions that expose pain. So when you're doing discovery, you don't want to just like we don't want to seem like we're interrogating people. We want to be doing some sales too. The best way to sell is to ask questions that expose pain. At GitLab, we call them trap setting questions. Okay. So I don't know what do they call them in your previous company?
Um, just pain probing.
Pain probing.
Uh,
Okay. It's the same concept, which is like, hey, notice that you're driving a Honda Accord. That's awesome. How's that working out for you? Well, it's working great. Thanks for asking. Yeah, quick question for you. When you pick someone up from the airport, do you feel excited picking them up with the Honda Accord? Well, not really, but the reason why I got the Honda was because it was a low cost option and it's really greatly reliable. I really value safety, and that's low cost and safety are like the big two things that I look for. Okay, awesome. Totally understand. A lot of the people that I talk to feel the same way. Full transparency though, notice that your car was at 240,000 miles. At this point in time, Hondas take actually a lot of times like several $1,000s per year to maintain, just because you have to replace more and more parts as the car ages. So have you ever considered buying a newer model? Like you said, safety is something that's super important for you. The newer models also have LiDAR, which will help you to know if someone does something expected. And then so it'll actually shake your driving wheel, your steering wheel, if someone gets too close to you, right? And then so this is an example of some of the new safety technology that we have. So in other words, what am I doing here? I'm asking questions that expose pain. We call them trap setting questions here. So that's like a fake example. A real example using GitLab would be attacking Jenkins. Okay. Hey, notice that you're using Jenkins. That's awesome. How's it working out for you? This is literally the answer you're going to get 85% of the time. They're going to say something like, yeah, we we don't really like Jenkins, but in all honesty, we've been using it for a really long time, so we don't want to switch. Okay. Okay, well, tell me more. What don't you like about Jenkins? Other people that I've spoken to talk about how it breaks down a lot and how there's challenges around its reliability. Is that your experience too? Yeah, exactly. So Jenkins for us, it breaks down a lot. Okay, totally understand. How does that impact your teams? And then asking more questions to probe more pain. Okay.
mhm.
Okay. So to sort of just talk more, have you ever heard of Beck Holland before?
Um, no.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about where you can learn more additional things. Flip the script is a great way of learning more stuff. It's all in the slide deck, so don't worry about writing it down, but it's all free too. We also have call scripts. We have the YouTube list of customer calls. that you have to be logged in as the GitLab user to watch them because they're private. We
Okay.
can't just like expose customer calls to the internet, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But these are additional great places to learn. Okay.
Is Flip the Script like the book Flip the Script?
I don't know if
Or
she
is that
turned
like,
it into a book, but I do know that she has a program that is called Flip the Script. I don't
oh,
really
okay.
we don't really tell anyone to do any specific like sales dev like methodology, but what we recommend is Flip the Script is really good. We have done other programs like John Barrows before. Have
Okay.
one that you really like that really resonates with like who you are, right? It's important for it to like work for you. I like Beck Holland a lot, but some other people don't like Beck Holland. That's okay, you know.
Yeah. Uh, okay, sure. I'm familiar with the Sandler sales
Okay,
methodology, and I wanted to do the John Barrows one, but
okay, awesome. Cool. Well, that's it for today's session.